Right, so we're looking at variance analysis, and this question says, which of the following statements are correct? So we know that, variance is really about difference, isn't it? An adverse variance, so this is not a good variance, and a variance where we have either spent more than we should or whatever will not, an adverse variance is not a good variance, and that will not increase profit. A favorable variance, so a favorable variance means that you have spent less than you should have, for example. This will increase profit, yes, it will. Um, it could also relate to revenue, where a favorable variance will arise because actual revenue is greater than budgeted revenue. So this is also very true. And finally, an adverse variance will arise when actual costs are greater than budgeted costs. Yes, because as a result of, we have the budgeted, whether or not, well, when then we have actual, and yeah, these are greater. If the costs are greater, things aren't good, and that's adverse. So definitely 2, 3, and 4 are all correct. 2, 3, and 4 are all correct. Okay, let's look at 93 Aquarius. So when we talked about the idea of flex budgets, we argued that, listen, here's our budget, and the reason why we're given this is to help us understand what the standard situation is per unit, for example. So if you're selling 200,000, it isn't, if you're looking for a variance in terms of cost, we want to judge you based on how long it took you or how much you spent making those actual units, right? That's the important thing here. So from a cost point of view, we cannot compare, we can't say how well, we can't judge the people working in the factory based on the production of 200,000 units with the actual 267, right? Because naturally you would expect them to use more material for 267. So to really have a good comparison, we need to know what they should use for making 267 versus what they did use in making 267. Okay, great stuff. So when we talk about flex budgets, where we are talking about the same number, that's the important thing. We are trying to understand what this, if I imagine I prepared this budget for 267, what would be the story? So let's look at volume first of all. So given that you're intending on selling 200,000 items for 1.6 million, it means that you're technically trying to sell one item, if you like, for 1.6 million over 200,000, right? So we can find that out. We can do that, can't we? We can say 1.6 million divided by 200,000, which gives you 8. Yes, that is 8 £8. Yes, that looks like £8. Perfect. So it means, therefore, that I'm expecting you, when it comes to 267,000 units, to sell these 267,000 units for £8 each. So if I'm selling these at £8, yes, times 267,000, I'm expecting to, 2136. I'm expecting 2136 expecting in terms of revenue. Let's look at materials. So in the same way, I can analyze materials that way. I cannot say, listen, I'm expecting you to use or to spend to make 200,000 units. I'm expecting your materials to spend 400,000. Therefore, for one unit, I'm expecting you to spend £2, right? Because when I divide this by, I'm going to have £2. So therefore, for 267,000 units, multiply that by 2, 267, 2. Yes, I'm expecting you to spend 534,000. Let's look at labor. That's equal. When I say equal, that's 200,000 as well. So pound per unit is what you're expected to spend. So therefore 267, I'm also expecting 267 as well. Fixed overheads do not change. They are fixed at level 3. We do not do anything with them. They are literally what they are. So let's calculate the profit, the profit on this flexed, on this new budget. So I'm having 2136 minus 534 minus 267 minus 600, and I have profit from operations of 735. So now I can find the variance, right? And let's just I'll just change this to a red pen. Actually, I'll use red for adverse. And so here we're expecting you to have done 2136, but you've done 2409. So I'll change my pen color to black for a positive 2409 minus 2136, and that's 273 favorable variance. Here you were to spend 534, but you spent 801, so I'll use a red pen. Here you have 801 minus 534, so you have 267. Here there is nothing, no variance. Here I can see it's 150. And here your profits as well are less than, well, then the profit ends up being less than it should be. 735 minus 591 is 144. So 144. So again, just changing my pen color. This is favorable. Here, this is here we see adverse, nothing, adverse, and therefore adverse. And that's the C's at the end of the question. And that's the end of 93, and that's how 93 pans out. 94 very much is, in terms of what we're doing, looks a lot like 93. Let's just start with the blue pen and do exactly the same thing. You'll be given an original budget, and from this original budget you'll find the standards, and then you'll apply that to the actual number of units. So I know that for my flex budget I'm talking about 28,800 units, right? That's the thing, that's the point. So I suppose, as you wish, however you'll do your math to get to this, to get these answers quickly, that's fine, but I'll still go a bit from first principles. So you're spending 3 million, I mean, you're expecting sales revenue of 3 million on selling 20,000 units. So I suppose, therefore, you could argue that on one unit, you're therefore expecting 3 million over 20,000. And therefore, for 28,800 units, it'll be 3 over 20,000, 3 million divided by 20,000 times 28,800. And that is, yes, you have here 4, 3, 20. That's what I get there. Then let's do we are literally doing the same thing, but again, just because these are all variable, aren't they? Just before, I mean, I can just slip 300 here now. So I'll just 5,000 is for 20 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. That's how you should approach this. 175,000 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. And here you have 252. Do the same thing here for direct labor. 875 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. 875 divided by 20,000 times 28,000. That's 1,225. And finally here you have 445. 445 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. 445 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. And that is, let's just do that again. 445,000 divided by 20,000 times 28,800. You have 6. I have an irregular number. Maybe I'm wrong here. 0.8. It's a bit of a strange one. Let me just look at that again. Yeah, it's come out odd. 78,000. I'll just do that. All the other numbers just seem so regular. 445,000 for 20,000 units. Therefore, for 1 unit, yes, I'll divide this by 20,000 and then multiply all of this by 28,800. So 28,800 divided by 20,000 times 445,000 comes out the same. So it must be right. So let's together. So you have your sales revenue again, 4320 minus 252 minus 1225 minus 640.8 minus 300 gives you 1902. 1902.2. Right, let's talk about whether they're favorable or not. Let's go for the adverse ones. So first of all, this is what we were expecting, and you've come up with this, which is less. So this is the variance. Oh, so they just want the figure. That's fine. We'll just do it. 4320 minus 3877. So you've come out with less. So 443. You were to spend 252, but you spent 212. So that's favorable, isn't it? Yes, because you spent less than you should have. 252 minus 212, that's 40. Then, in terms of labor, you were to spend this, but you spent 912. That's favorable as well. Minus 912, that's 313, favorable. You were to spend 640.8, but you spent 448. Oops, sorry. 640.8 minus 448, 192.8, so that's favorable. You were to spend 300, but you spent 325, so that's adverse. I'll just change my pen color just for that one. And that's adverse, it's 25. Okay, great. And then we can find the final difference. You were to spend 1902, but you spent, sorry, your profit is 1980, but your profit should have been 1902. So that's good. That's good in the end, isn't it? 1980 minus 1902.2, which is 77.8. Right, good. So that's the first part A. Okay, great stuff. So when we look at this, this question is asking which has had the greatest impact in increasing profit from operations. Here, when we look at this cost here, we see here that direct labor. I mean, this is 192.8. I suppose you could call this 193. So when you look at the greatest favorable variance here, it's direct labor. This is 313 is what you have here. We had direct labor 875 over, yeah, and then we had that. So direct labor is your answer there. And this question is asking what might have caused this favorability for direct labor, if you like. So we're talking about labor now. These are people, isn't it? So we're talking about what would have been favorable. Why would we have done it in less time, or yeah, probably more really about less time than we should have, therefore having a less of a cost. And I guess because we're talking about people and labor, naturally that should land at C. Yes, and that should land in C because this is favorable. Yes. Yeah, and that's that answer there. Cool, great stuff. And that is 94. That's 94. Let's I actually think yes, exactly. Perfect. This is an exact oh no, actually we'll do 90. We'll do this one as well. We'll do 95 as well. Although it looks a lot like, hopefully you can start to see the parallels. In fact, I think I'll leave that one for you because you can see here what we're doing is we're doing exactly what we did, and then we're looking here at the sort of cost area, or the area to see what one is causing. It is literally the same thing. We are doing this at 5,000. You will find your standard and you will apply that, and then you will, if you like, find, imply from here what's going on. Apply from there what's going on. I've done that in the last series of sections, leaving that last one, but it is literally the application of that. And I think you can manage that by finding the standards literally from here. You know that if we're talking, we're saying that we're making 1.5 million from 400,000 units. The first question is, well, what is the case with how much are we making from one unit. So we have that divided by 400,000. Then take that and multiply that by 5,000, and literally take each of these items and divide them by the 4,000. Divide that by the 4,000, as with labor overheads, and multiply that by 5,000, by 5,000, by 5,000, and you're there, and then you can find the variance. But exactly like what we've been doing so far. So refer to 94 for this question. Okay, great stuff.